Hello, I'm Barbara Gahn-Mueller. Welcome to the Peace Podcast, promoting peace, healthy living, and happiness. The Peace Podcast is our way of letting people such as our guest today, Rudy Westervelt, talk about the world that we want to create, a world of peace where we can trust each other and learn to live in harmony. Now, Rudy Westervelt is one of those people who is able to not only talk and walk his actions, creating a World Peace Conference. A World Peace Conference which first started in 2016. Now here we are, 2020, 4 years later, and we are now having the second World Peace Conference. So with that, I'm going to invite you to stay tuned for the next 15 minutes. And if you'd like to share it with your friends, please do. We also are on Spotify, iTunes, and Google. So not only can you watch Rudy, you can listen to him in your car and remember everything he said. Welcome, Rudy Westervelt.
Thank you, Barbara. Glad to join you tonight.
Well, you know, Rudy, you and I have a long history. We worked together to put together the 2016 World Peace Conference, where we had all of the people working on peace and then the solutions that we want in the world. Why are you coming back with that same notion again in 2020?
Well, I think that, we had, with your help, Barbara, we had great success in 2016. We put together a conference that was with 104 breakout sessions and 6 general sessions. And we had talked about solutions to major issues that are happening in our lives. And we took on human trafficking and PTSD and child abuse and domestic violence. And we made some progress, but not enough yet. We know that there are new problems out there, but we're not focused on problems. We're focused on solutions. And sort of like your work with Revolutionary Conversations, and how if we learn to speak with each other, we break down barriers and begin to understand what we have in common, not what we have as differences, and create one humanity around the world. And we have a lot of work to do out there. There's certainly a lot of problems out there. But this conference, like 2016, focuses on solutions, not the problem, but things that we can get behind and make a real effort in our communities, in our lives, our homes, around the world, to make a real difference out there.
When you said around the world, it's really true, because I looked at the speakers who are going to be speaking, and they're from around the world. And when I look at that number of people who are flying in and coming into the Ontario Convention Center, I'm going to say the dates January 17th and 18th. Am I correct?
That's correct. It's a Friday and Saturday.
Yes, and the Ontario Convention Center is going to have a Friendship Hall where I am going to be hosting my booth for the United Nations Association. And it allows us to have a more intimate time with each other and more intimate time with some of our nonprofits and some of the profits that are working for, or corporations, I should say, that are working for peace on our planet. I also heard you're going to have community heroes this time. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so our conference is really based on what we did in 2016, 4 years later, because we know we still have some conflict out there in the world. We need to do some healing and some work out there. The community heroes side of this is really like a CNN Heroes. We want to look at, we watch the TV and we hear all the bad things that are going on in the world. We need to know that there's overpowering good going on in the world that doesn't get reported on. And so we're asking people to go to our website, peaceconference2020.org, and go on there and get the forms and nominate your community hero. It could be a child that's doing something great, like I heard recently about a young 5 or 6 year old that had gone to a senior center and gone around to every person in that center and asked what one thing, if they could have one thing right now in their life special for them, what would it be? And that young man this very young man got the list from each senior, went around his community and collected exactly what they wanted and brought back to them. That's the kind of hero we want to have.
He's a real community hero, isn't he?
Exactly. So it could be young or old, that's saving or changing lives. Sort of like, and one of our speakers, Barbara, happens to be a PhD student from UCLA who's working to to help homeless college students, students to students, and now they have homes and other care for homeless college students, and it's spread now over to USC. So we're going to be highlighting that work.
I just want to talk about that because that is not something that's rare. There are homeless college students who can't afford the rent, who can't afford the food. And that is a wonderful hero. I hope I get to meet this young man. You know, Rudy, your passion for peace is so obvious. I'm so proud to be one of the co-founders of the Rotary Club of World Peace, because each Tuesday night we get to listen to people who are making a difference on our planet. But I'm going to ask you the details now. You know, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be speaking about how to have peace in your life. And how can people register? Is there still time to register?
Absolutely. Go to peaceconference2020.org, peaceconference2020.org, and click on the Register Now button. And please click on the full conference registration. Join us. Our Community Heroes Awards dinner that Barbara mentioned will be on Friday night dinner, special dinner with Fritz Coleman from Channel 4, will be your MC that night. Fritz also happens to be a Rotarian, but he'll be joining us that night. We're going to honor our community heroes that evening. And we also have a special concert and dinner on Saturday night with some great work out there. But we have 6 general sessions, 112 breakout sessions now, with over 160 experts with solutions to major issues that are happening in our communities, in our lives, in our homes. And we're excited. This is a one-in-a-lifetime experience for people to come together, to focus on peace that we can create in our personal lives, and in us as a person, because we also deal with trauma and conflict in our lives and how we deal with that personally in our homes and then our communities, and then that continues to spread out. And so it's great work out there. Thanks, Barbara.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you know, I'm thinking about the speakers, and I just went on the website, Peace Conference 2020, and I clicked on speakers. I could not believe the number of speakers that are bringing in. Some of them are authors, some of them are environmentalists, a lot of them are Rotarians, a lot of them are medical doctors. And the theme that we all have in our hearts, and we want to spread the joy of having peace in our life, is allowing us all to hear them in one location in 2 intense days. And it's pretty intense, Rudy. I mean, when you have to make up your mind which sessions you want to go to, I'm going to split up my group and have some go to others and some come back and forth so that we can share the words. So we can register. We have Friendship Hall if people want a booth. A nonprofit rate is quite reasonable. That's why I picked up my booth. Nominate a community hero and go to Peace Conference 2020 and sign up today. You're going to regret that you didn't do it. Last 2016, when Rudy and I were together at the conference, people said, "Oh, why didn't I go? Why didn't I go?" But that was too late. You got to sign up now, right, Rudy?
That's correct. Sign up today. Make sure you get your spot there. And again, go to our website, register now, look at our speakers. We have top leaders from around the world coming in from the UK, from the Middle East, from Australia, from around the world, joining us across the United States here. That'll be joining together. We have already from 33 different countries, 35 different states in the U.S. Joining with us, and so we want you to be part of this. And it's only possible. We can only make change if you join us. There's huge power out there in our hands. We have 13 different sessions, breakout sessions going on simultaneously over the 2 days. One of those is empowering women. We have some tremendous solutions out there working with women in some really tough spots in the world. But we also have, for instance, a speaker from Korea, Christine An, who started a group called Women Cross DMZ, and she's worked with North and South Korea to come together with women and Nobel laureate women to create peace between women North and South that are bringing the real end to the Korean War and peace in that region. But those are just examples of some of the great talent we have coming on here. We have a group called combatants for peace that are bringing together Israeli former military and Palestinian leaders together to create peace in the Middle East. And so those are only a couple of the solutions here, but we have, I could go on for hours here speaking about this. We also have a lot on forgiveness. We have a gentleman from San Diego whose son was, and when he was 20 years old, delivering pizza, was murdered by a 14-year-old for his gang initiation. He's being raised by his granddad. And the father and the grandfather have come together in forgiveness because one lost a son, one lost a grandson, and now they go to inner city schools talking to the kids about the choices they make that affect their future forever, that they could end up dead in prison for the rest of their lives, or they could make a right decision and make a difference in their lives and help others.
What I find, Rudy, as I listen to you, is the spirit of hope that if we get together, that if we listen to one another, if we have those sessions in Friendship Hall where we can sit together and enjoy lunch together and talk about what we heard. You mentioned earlier that conversation sometimes is the beginning of peace, and I absolutely agree with you. And those of you who are listening today, I host these sessions for people around the world because I really know that the Zoom technology allows us to have friendships no matter where we are. In fact, one of the sessions I'm going to do there at the Peace Conference is the advantage that Zoom offers us and the international social media networks that we can be part of and how we can tap into them. So once you leave the conference, you're not going to be left alone. We're going to work with you to bring those ideas that Rudy just so eloquently mentioned to fruition. You know, it's not enough just to listen. You have to go home and take that to the people you're listening, you're meeting with, you're working with. And Rudy, I want to thank you. I had a private conversation with Rudy earlier, and he said he's taken 2 years to gather these speakers together. And he is able to bring them into their full glory in a 45-minute session. So I hope you'll join Rudy Westervelt and myself at the 2020 World Peace Conference. And Rudy, I'd like to give you the last word. What would you like people to remember about this conference and about your hard work?
I think we need help together. We sometimes think we lean on our governments to fix everything, but as citizens, as members of the world here, world citizens, we are the solution. And together, if we really put our might to it, we can stop human trafficking. We can prevent one little boy or girl from being trafficked. We can stop one child from being bullied and committing suicide. We can fix major issues that are happening right in our society, like Lori Layden, who's working with our schools like Parkland, where with the survivors of there, with the parents and the students, or in a war zone where they're affected by traumatic stress. We can fix PTSD. We, citizens, together, but we need to come together at this conference. Join together with me, because Barbara and I are going to follow you after this conference, and we're going to make a difference here. We're going to save some lives. If nothing else, if we save one little boy or girl from committing suicide or being trafficked, or a veteran from committing suicide because of PTSD, or we've prevented one more little child from being abused or domestic violence happening in a home, won't you feel good about joining us in that effort? It will have been worth it. The 2 years we've invested to deliver this to you is important to me. I need you to join with me, because together we will cure some of these basic issues that are happening in our personal lives, our homes, and our communities. Please go to peaceconference2020.org, click on the Register Now button, join us, and I will see you in January 17 and 18 at the Ontario Convention Center, Ontario, California, USA, And we look forward to having you there. Barbara, thank you for letting me join you tonight.
Oh, what a pleasure. You're hearing the passion of a man who has devoted not only these 2 years, but the 2 years prior to the 2016 Peace Conference. He's absolutely right. Together, we will bring peace to our planet. I'm Barbara Gahn-Mueller, thanking you. May peace be with you, and I look forward to meeting you at the 2020 World Peace Conference. Bye for now.